why we love our working model, this job sharing model so much, is that this is really for us personally, an enabler to integrate more than just one profession in our life, or more than just one topic. So when Silke is doing the mindfulness and resilience trainer, I also have a coaching and consulting background on career coaching or career path coaching.
I am very delighted to introduce my guests, Julia Koller and Silke Schank, today. Julia and Silke are job-sharing managers in finance at Daimler Truck AG in Germany. As heard in the clip, their flexible work model enables them to also be a career coach, Julia, and a mindfulness trainer, Silke, besides their corporate responsibilities. Silke and Julia's leadership philosophy is that more voices make a stronger whole. Trust is their foundation, and they act as one, taking out complexity in that manner. Welcome to the show, Julia and Silke.
Thank you, Karen. Good to be here and to talk to you.
Yeah, thank you for the invitation. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming onto the show. Now, for our listeners from all over the world, where are you calling in today? And is there a particular site or food that you can recommend?
So today we're calling in from Stuttgart, which is a city in the southern part of Germany. And a food or a site we can recommend. Let's start with the site. We live near Stuttgart, and we both live in the vineyards of the Stuttgart area. And we really love that.
And especially now it's very green. So when we look outside the window, we have a very green landscape with already small grapes on it. So this makes really fun enjoying the nature. And at the moment we also have all these small wine festivals here. That's what we really love and what we really spread to our nature and surrounding here.
Yes, and food-wise, of course, we drink the wine from our vineyards on the one hand side, but food-wise, there's a Swabian special food, let's call it like that. It's called lentils with spätzle. So spätzle are a special sort of noodles, and the Swabians cook it together with lentils and with a sausage.
And maybe the Swabian pretzels, maybe the German pretzels, but there's a difference between Swabian pretzels, where Stuttgart is located in Baden-Württemberg, and Bavarian pretzels. So we have the Swabian ones.
Well, as I'm from Munich, I definitely know the difference. Yes.
Great.
Yes, and it sounds like, for anybody listening to us, it sounds like a perfect time to visit your area and test some wine. So now I would love for you both to give me a bit of an overview of your individual professional background. So maybe Julia, would you like to start?
Yeah, starting with my individual background, I would say I start with the studies. I studied business administration, and I did it in a dual way. So I was, studying at the university, but on the same time, I was already employed at a company. So it was like a very practical and hands-on way to study, because I could gather all the working experience from the start. Right now, I'm a manager in corporate finance. And this is also really where my professional or corporate background is, in the finance area. And in this finance area, I also met Silke, and with Silke, I'm sharing my current job right now. So we're sharing a finance manager position.
Then I will continue. So and I will make it the other way around. So I think to my current career, Julia mentioned already that we are sharing the position in the finance strategy department. with a team lead there and working on very conceptual and strategic projects for our company. And before, I think my total career has the automotive sector in it. So when I finished university in Regensburg, and that's also Bavaria, Karen, not so far from Munich, where you are from, I studied business economics there and got my diploma there. And afterwards, I made some internships in South Africa for BMW, and I was always interested in the automotive sector. And in South Africa, I met many friends from the Swabian side. That's why I decided to continue my further career and my first job there. And I applied at Daimler, and that's where I held many positions since then. So I started in the production planning area and came very fast to the financial departments, and that's where I held many functions, from project controlling to result controlling, communication of financial figures up to now. Yeah, but when I talk about profession, I also want to mention one big thing that I'm doing by heart since Corona. I started a qualification beside my job as a mindfulness trainer and resilience trainer, and that's what I really like to implement in my daily work of life, and what I really want to share also in the cultural sense in our company and on the private side as well. And of course, yes, my big passion for job sharing. I think that's something that that marks my career or profession as well.
Yeah, that's really a good point, and good that you mention it now when Karen asked us about our professional career, because one thing why we love our working model, this job sharing model, so much is that this is really for us personally an enabler to integrate more than just one profession in our life, or more than just one topic. So when Silke is doing the mindfulness and resilience trainer, I also have a coaching and consulting background on career coaching or career path coaching. And yes, that's why we, for us personally, really like our job sharing corporate model, because besides having a cool and an interesting job in finance, both of us have the possibility to also do something else where really, what are really our hard topics, or where we see this is also something important for us, and to spend some time there too.
This is really fascinating. And for anybody listening to us, what I find so important to see is your backgrounds, have some overlaps, but also they're quite different. And so for you both to work together in a job sharing model is, it's so interesting what all of these experiences as two people you are feeding in. Plus, as you both said, you have additional coaching and consulting on, outside of your main job, and how everything feeds together. So I'd love to get back to this in a bit, but first, for our listeners, I'm very curious. So hearing all of this, how did you actually decide to say, okay, we're going to job share this position? How did that start?
So when you ask us, how did you decide to job share this position, you have to know, or we can share that it's actually already the second position we are sharing together in our company. And how did we come up with this idea? I think it's a very classical thing how we came up with this idea, because both of us were on parental leave. We both have 2 kids, so in our job share we have 4 kids and 2 husbands together. And when I say it was the classical situation that we decided we would like to do the job share, it really is one of the big triggers at least how we perceive it here in Germany. If you want to have a career on the one hand side, but on the other hand side, it's not only the women, but more and more also the males. They want to have time for their family or for something else in their life. And that's the classical trigger point when you decide, okay, how can you combine both of it? And then you have this decision, do you want to do a part-time job or how will you manage it? And for us, it was pretty clear at this point in our life that on the one hand side, we loved our job and wanted to have a cool job and also a managing position. And on the other hand, we wanted this time for our little kids at that point in our life. And this was, I think, six or 7 years ago. And in our company, there were some job sharing models. So not many, but we had some role models and we saw that and it worked out for them. And so we asked ourselves, hey, isn't that a cool thing to do for us too? I mean, there was not really a blueprint, but we saw it. And then we kind of developed our plan.
And that's the story I love to say, because it was really just our first project that we got a tandem, because as Julia mentioned, we had the plan, okay, to become a job share, but we have to say Julia held the position already before, so she was back from maternity leave before myself, and then we had that idea that maybe we would be a nice couple for job sharing. But it was not so easy, or we thought it would not be so easy to propose that directly to our manager at that time, and we made a kind of plan. So Julia gave me a signal when she was already in the office. Hey, it's a good time to talk to our boss, maybe in 2 weeks when the deadline is over and he has time to think about it. And then I waited until that point of time, and then I contacted him by mail and said, hey, I would like to change into your department. I'm very interested in another function in finance, and I would also be open for job sharing. Stop. Then it was Julia. It was Julia's part, and she was talking that her job, she loves her job, but it's too much maybe for one person, and she would also be open for job sharing. And then it was officially not our idea that we would be a good match. It was the idea of our manager then, and that's what made him proud. I think that it was his idea, and it was just our goal that we can start, and our first proof point that we can make up plans and we can align, and that this could work.
Wow, what a story! It sounds so fascinating, and now. You were saying there were already some job sharing role models in your organization before you started. And now, so like when, Julia, you wrote mindsets for successful job sharing. So like the fact that you already in your organization had some role models. So could you sort of share what are these mindsets to be successful in job sharing?
That's a very good question, Karen, because we fancy this model, but we also think this model is not, it's not a model that's, how do you say that?
It's not a success factor
per se.
Yeah.
So this model is a good model, but you really have to live it and you really have to have a good plan. And for us, we say this job sharing is for us more than a working model. So working model would be more like, okay, it's 2 part-time positions, you do this, I do that, and it's a different approach that we have. So we say it's actually a mindset if you do a job share. And why is that? We think that we are very customer oriented. And when we do our work, or when we also talk about our job sharing and how we live our job sharing, it's really, we have this customer orientation. And we are very flexible on our working model. So it's not that we come up, well, I work, and this is what a lot of managers or maybe also companies associate with this part-time working. It's this inflexibility. So I work, I don't know, from I say 8 to 2, and then I have to pick up my kids and I can't do anything for the company anymore. So this is exactly what we not want to do with the job sharing, and what we recommend everyone to still be flexible. And we perceive this job sharing as we're actually one person and we have one voice, and we want to be perceived as one full-time person actually, and we also offer this. So our working model is right now, we're available from Monday to Friday all day long, and it's our job in between us, and no one else has to care about it, how we divide it, who covers which topic, and so on and so forth. So this is really one of the big issues. Be very flexible on your model and don't stick to certain, I don't know, time frames or other restrictions, but be very flexible and also react to what your job needs. And also another mindset that we really think is very essential for a successful job sharing is be incomplex. So you're two persons, but don't make this a topic for anyone else. So we deal with each other. If I talk on Monday to some person in my job, it's my responsibility to keep Silke in the loop. And if this person talks to Silke on Friday, Silke has to be up to date and has to, keep up or pick up on where I left. And this is what we mean with be incomplex. Make it a topic inside your tandem, but don't make it a topic for your boss, your team, your customers. Who is there on which day? Be incomplex. So these are just, two pieces of the mindset that we really think have to be lived to be a successful tandem.
This is, I thank you so much for sharing it, because I feel talking to people, one of the biggest concern they have is that adding 2 people versus 1, that it adds a lot of complexity to them, that they have to deal with all the things you just described. So the fact that it is basically inside your tandem, and from their perspective, they're dealing with a full-time position, I think that is really, really important to hear. And now, Silke, you also recently wrote on LinkedIn, success factors, in this case, how you apply in job sharing. And so I'm curious also, you are in your second job sharing position. Like, how could you maybe share, what does it take to, move together from one position to the next?
Yes, and I think I can directly connect to where we ended the last questions, because you said, yes, you are 2 person, and that may seem complex to other ones. And our recommendation is really think about your model and define your model before you apply. So if you think that you want to work in a job sharing model, don't wait until your first meetings with your potential boss and then look in your eyes with a question mark, and don't say you don't know how you want to create your job sharing model. Make your plan before you apply, and your plan is really your plan. So no job sharing model is like the others. So think about the question that Julia said before. Who are your customers? How do you want to work? Be clear about it and really write it down. Write it down for yourself, that you both are clear about it, and speak already in your application meetings the same voice, and be also be also clear about what are your success factors, and not only think about it in your talks then with your potential bosses or business partners. Be clear about it, write it down. What is your business model? How many hours do you want to work? What about representation of each others? How do you want to organize feedback sessions? Do you want that jointly? Do you want the difference? What about when it comes to payment? What are your expectations there? How do you want to live and to work your model? And if you are clear about it and you have it written down, then it's the first step is gone. Yeah. And also your application, see it as a proof point for your future work. So look at make a common application letter. Write already a common motivation letter. Create or develop your condensed CV where you see our strength. What is your backpack full of strength, and what are your superpowers as a tandem? Show that you are more than only two persons sharing a job. Show what's really your benefit, and especially your benefit versus one full-time person, because that's the person you are competing. And I think this is really something that we recommend. Be prepared with the main three. We say already we make a kind of roadshow. So have always where you go to 3 pages with you. One page, one summary of your CV, very short, really only the highlights, because if you write there a story, then it's already too long and you're too complex. So only the highlights of your careers, why you are different and what's your benefit. So little CV. Second, your working model and how you really want to do all this operational stuff that I mentioned. And the third thing is be clear about your vision and your values. So what are you standing for? What are your leadership principles that you are standing for, that every person that you meet knows from the very beginning who are you as a tandem, and don't remain any question marks in their heads. So that's what really we recommend. Be active, be clear about yourself, and have your roadshow always with you.
And I would like to amend maybe because Karen, when you ask about how do you apply or what do you recommend when you apply in a job share, I mean, the world is not, waiting for an application of a job sharing couple. And why is that? Because it's still, I mean, it's a topic that is now known, and maybe it's also a little bit a trend topic right now in HR or in corporate companies in Germany. But still a lot of managers or higher levels have never heard about job sharing or haven't had the experience to work with job sharers. And there is not a blueprint. There is not a blueprint by HR, and there's also not a blueprint by other job sharing couples, because it's always an individual thing. So this is why we really recommend make this plan, as Silke said, and also be proactive and talk about it, and be incomplex and make it easy for your boss, for your team, for your clients.
And now I want to add something. When you're talking about, don't wait for the job description or the job posting that says we are open for job sharers. So there are some companies, maybe a few, that offer that, but don't wait for it. Just apply for a full-time position as a job sharing couple. That's the first step to make companies think about your benefits.
Wow. I'm so appreciative. I feel like our listeners, whether that is an HR leader, business leader, or somebody thinking about applying in the future as a job sharing couple, they're gaining so much from your experience. So thank you. That's so interesting. And now I'd love to know, as you have had the opportunity to be job sharers for a while, what would you have liked to have known before you started job sharing?
I think it's really a good question. when I think back, what would really have helped us, I think we were one of the first in our company, and it would really have helped us to have more sparing about how to do it. So like we do, if there have been more other couples that would have said, hey, do it like that, apply like that, we have a blueprint for your model. But what we also learned is, and what I would have known before, what I have liked better to have known before, is that there is no perfect working model. So it's in your hands, and you create it, and just be brave and do it.
Yeah. It's really, I mean, what would have helped? It would really have helped to have a sparring partner that shares with you, how do you deal with it in the daily life? Like, how do you write emails? How do you go to meetings? How do you do your development talks? Do you do everything together? How open are you sharing it? Do you have a structure on how you share, I don't know, the outcomes of the meetings? Just how do you do it? So this would really have helped to talk to people who have done it before, and then you have some ideas how you can do it, and then you can decide what fits best to you. This would have helped, I guess. And this is what we, on the other hand, now really do a lot, and that's why we also like to talk to you, Karen, that we share our experience with others, because this really helps very much. What we, I guess, also would have liked to know, or what would have been good if someone had told us, that it's really this mindset thing. So when we started out, for us, it was like a working model. So I work Monday, Tuesday, Silke works, I don't know, Wednesday, Thursday, whatever. So we really focused a little bit on this, but really it's really more. And job sharing is only good if you do this mindset shift. So it's really a very focused, or you really focus on shifting from thinking from I to a we in everything you do, and you really have to do that stringently to make this job sharing successful. We kind of reflected on this from the beginning. I think, or at the beginning, we really tried to reflect on how our job sharing works out. So if there is a weird gut feeling coming up for me or for Silke, that we really make this a topic, so that this between us, so we can talk about it and find a solution on it. And we did this at the beginning quite a lot. Now we're like an old married couple working together for 6 years, so we don't have to talk about everything in detail. At the beginning, we invested really a lot of time, and we think that was a very valuable invest we did.
And that is also what we would recommend other job sharers or others who want to start. If you ever don't have a good feeling in your first days when you work together, bring everything on the table and write it down how you want to solve it as your personal rule for your job sharing. Yeah. And then it's clear, and that's what really helped us at the beginning.
And I have one last thing that I would have liked to know, and then I think it's good. But one thing is, if you have a job sharing, just be clear for yourself that others may perceive an overdose of power. So just be clear of it, that if you appear as a job sharing couple in meetings together, so this will happen. I mean, our idea is to
we always like to bring as many perspectives in our meetings, because our results are then better. But if you are on the other side, if you are on the side of our business partner, they can perceive it as maybe too much, because or maybe they can perceive it as
a two against one
position, yes, because of only the physical.
Right.
Yeah, but yes, and what I wanted to say is that we try to split up. Of course, I mean, our model is that I cover the first half of the week, and Silke covers the second half of the week. So we actually on 4 days we're split up anyhow. So it's only one of us in the meetings or taking care of topics or whatever. But then we have one day where we have an overlap, and there, it may be perceived that it's maybe a 2 against 1 position if you are on a meeting, I don't know, with other people. So it doesn't have to be perceived like it, and I think it also depends on a topic, but this is something that you should be aware of. So really think about where you want to appear as a job sharing couple, or where you really decide, no, it's only the one or the other.
That's such a important point to note. I honestly hadn't thought about it, but I could see that somebody might feel threatened when you happen to be the two of you sitting in a meeting, that it's sort of like a power play, when in reality it's you're there to ensure maybe in a particular meeting that you both hear that because of decisions to be made or something. So thank you. And now, one thing you've been mentioning, that when you started off, you were one of the first ones to be a job sharing team. So I'm curious, so as there are now more job sharers in the organization, is this in a particular area only, or do you see them across different areas? And how about different job levels? And also, you mentioned before the classic job sharing, being like having young children. But if you had to say, are there, for example, men in your organization that are also job sharing?
So I really love to talk about the topic. So yes, so we are working for a very international company. So I just want to come back very quickly to the point that job sharing in some countries is more common like in others. And what we can speak for is that in our company, the focus is really in Germany, where the headquarter also is. So that's where we see a lot of job sharers on the team leader level already, and cross gender as well. I think I have one example in mind where even and this I really love to say. I think it was also shared on Instagram recently. We also have one couple who's married and who do job sharing. I don't know them, but I know that it's existing. I don't know, and that's why I said, okay, this would even be too much for me, but it is existing, and I just mention it because it is, and I think it's great for them. But the majority that I see is really on is really still on the female side and on the team leader side. But it's getting more and more attractive, and it's even I think the interest on implementing it even on higher management levels is increasing, and there are already job sharers on senior positions that I know. And my personal diversity moment from last week was when we were asked by a male colleague if we can set up a meeting in the next couple of weeks, because he is interested also in that model, and he already has another male who wants to share the position. And that's where I thought, okay, this is exactly what we are engaging us for. So it's not a model for women anymore. I think it was when we started due to that maternity thing, but it's getting even more interested on the male side. There are mixed tandems, and the benefit of it. I feel that there is a lot of interest there, and as more people speak it out that they are interested in, as normal it will be. It will be. Yeah, also in our company.
Yeah, and we think also it's kind of a generation thing, maybe. I think male persons that are in their, I don't know, 30-ish, that are around 30ish, that they now dare to speak up and say, hey, I like this model, and I would really consider it for myself too. And for them, it's not a hindering reason now to work part-time in a job sharing and say, well, then I cannot, I don't know, do a career anymore or whatever. And I think it's really this shift, or really a generation thing, that not only women, but also male, they have to have this combination of family or personal life and a career life. And we like, or we really see that now. And also we perceive that in Germany, this job sharing model is really like a trend topic. So there are many questions coming up to us, or other job sharing couples who start out now, and there are other companies that implement this working model. And yes, we like that spirit.
I hope that spirit transfers towards North America soon. That would be very wonderful, because especially here in Canada, it just isn't there yet, but I'm hopeful. And this is actually a perfect lead way to my next question. What do you feel are the most common concerns that you have heard with, talking to people about job sharing, why they haven't either implemented it yet, or why they're maybe skeptical about it?
The most obvious argument is, okay, 2 people, it's higher cost. So I have to pay two people. This is something that we hear very often, and that you have to be prepared for, and where you need an answer. And the answer for us, it's very simple. Yes, we are 2 persons, but we have a lot of more output than 1 person, and you have to be really prepared for that. Then another topic is, you are working as a job sharer, but sometimes you are still considered as a part-timer, and it's like a stamp on your head when they say, okay, job sharing is it's only 2 part-timers. We don't know why there's still that mindset in the heads, but it's from the past, that part-time workers, maybe there are people who feel that you don't engage as much as a full-timer for a company if you only work part-time. So they don't see it as a possibility to have more variety in their life, and to have more interest and more diversity in their life. It's sometimes that people think only a full-timer can really engage for a company, and you have to give your full-time dedicated to where you work. And then it's a bit like the concern that we feel is that what we already discussed, 2 against 1. Maybe you can appear too powerful, and especially when it comes to leadership. So I feel there are sometimes concerns when you have a team that you can't manage it, or that you can't convince your team to have now two managers instead of 1. That's a question that very often comes up.
Mm-hmm. And one last thing is that oftentimes tandems are perceived as being complex. And that's why we say you really have to have a plan, and you have to really live not being complex. You have to stand for, we are in complex, and we make your life as our boss, as our team, we make it actually easier and not more complicated, because we are 2 persons. And yes, that's also one concern we hear a lot.
And now you just mentioned part-time, so I'm curious, is there like a part-time career that actually exists at your organization as well?
I mean, we work in a big company, so we don't know everything that's going on there, but we can talk about how we perceive it, or what we see. So if you ask about a part-time career, and by career meaning it's possible, to work through every hierarchy levels, I think I don't see that. It is possible at the management or team leading level. It is possible to also do this on a part-time basis, not in a job sharing, but I can think of only very, very few people I know who are doing this. And speaking from my personal experience, when I came back after my second child, my idea was to work in part-time on a managing position. And I started out doing this for, I think, 1 month, because after 1 month I saw it's not working out. If I draw a line, it's not working out. I'm not working part-time. I work full-time, but I get paid part-time. So that's when I really very quickly came up with the idea, it doesn't work out, and I'm looking for another solution. So to your question, the possibility is there to work part-time also on a managing level, but is it the reality? I don't perceive it.
It's so interesting, because here in North America, I would say part-time very often is automatically associated with an entry-level position. That's why I was asking. And so, I mean, to your point, one of the things I think is so amazing about job sharing, because there are two people, so then the point where one works more than the part-time isn't really there, because you have your other person working. So that's why I feel it's so, such a benefit about job sharing, that you have two people working together. So
exactly. So for us as a person, it's exactly the benefit that you mentioned, that, well, I work from Monday to Wednesday, and I know then the other part of the week, Wednesday to Friday, Silke is there, so I don't work. I mean, we can cover peak times together, and we can bundle our capacity also in peak times. So this would actually be a benefit for for the company, but also for the company, it's really, you have the double skills that you bring, but also you have the double power, and you come to more creative and to more diverse solutions than if you're only one person. So we really see job sharing. That's why we love this model so much. We like it for us personally, because it enables us to live a more diverse life. But we really also see the benefits for the company. We think that our results, the solutions that we offer in our day-to-day business, are better because we're two heads.
And I want to add something. Sometimes that's how it often in our situation, that somebody wants to add something. There you see, we always have additional arguments available. So sometimes we hear, yes, but you have a capacity overlap as a tandem. And yes, sometimes they just see that two people are working on one issue. But if one single full-time person would have to work out one topic, you have to arrange another meeting to get another opinion on the topic. That's why often it's not seen. And that's what we really want to emphasize. Yes, we have always two eyes looking on the same, but also two perspectives with two different backgrounds, two opinions, and finding a compromise or a balance in the topic already, where another person, one single person, has to arrange a lot of more meetings, what is also time consuming, and that's what is often forgotten.
Thank you for sharing this. It just, to me, it sounds just such a effective model that is truly completely undervalued at this point around the world. And so as we're coming to the end of our conversation, I'd love to hear from you. So as you're reflecting on your job sharing journey, what do you feel was the most surprising thing that you encountered during this time?
I think I just talk for me, but I think this is it's also for both of us. Julia mentioned it already before. The most surprising thing is job sharing is not only a working model, it's a mindset. And even if you start working in a job sharing model, first it's maybe the model until you have set it up. But if you really live it with passion and really use all the benefits and live it, then it's becoming a mindset, and this mindset is of such a high value. I would never want to work back again in a full-time position, and that's what we also discussed recently. We reflected I think 2 weeks ago and said, can you imagine working full-time? So it's a valid question. Maybe after 6 years, maybe one of us children grew up, and we could also say, no, that's enough. I want to go back to full-time. But that was the point when we really said, no, for us, the job sharing is the benefit and really high motivation for doing a great job for us. And we don't want to go back to a full-time. It really became a mindset for us.
Yeah, and for me, what is surprising about this job sharing that we started as a working model is what it really brought to our personal lives also. So when we started it out, I mean, the job and doing the job, the corporate job, played really a big role in our life. And it still plays the big role. But besides that topic, we now have a much more diverse personal life, because we had the possibility through our job sharing to, on the one hand side, have time for our family. Now the children grew up. Now we had time to spend the free time that the job sharing offered to us, to spend it on some education, on building up a coaching, I don't know, on doing sports. I started playing tennis. So it's really this variety and this diverse life that for us is only possible with this job sharing model, because our job still really is like a central role in our life and is important to us. So for us, it wouldn't have been the opportunity to do a different job on a part-time basis. So we value this job, but on the same time, we really value our life too. And yeah, that was really surprising for me. So coming from this working model, combining a job and kids, to now have really a diverse or a bundle of flower in our lives.
Wow.
I describe it sometimes like the I don't know how to say in English, but it's the bird's perspective.
Yeah.
An eagle. If an eagle looks on my life, do I want that the eagle sees only work in my life? Or when I was the eagle, would I see myself having, besides work, also other interesting topics? And then I come always back to the point that I love more the variety and the balance of different interests, hobby, sport, family, and of course a job that I love. And job sharing gives me the freedom and space to have everything of it, to have the variety.
Wow. I mean, thank you so much. It just, here in North America in particular, we are having such a high turnover that people, especially female professionals, are leaving the workforce because the vast majority of the positions are full-time positions. And given the struggle with currently, the pandemic and the childcare situation, it really makes so many people, have burnouts and they're leaving. And so hearing what you're describing, this model really, I think, also combats that and allows for a more, fulfilling and life all around with everything. So thank you.
Yes, and you always, and that's also a good thing about this job sharing, when you talk about, I don't know, burnout or whatever, in a job sharing, you have to be aware you always have a coach at your side, because you have the same topics you deal with business-wise, sometimes you're in the same meetings, so you always have someone who gives you very open or can give you very openly feedback. And this is also something, that makes you grow personally.
Yeah, it's the built-in coach.
Yes.
And you have different strengths that you can just use. So for example, when I look at us, I think Julia is a natural pacemaker. So you are really giving pace to our topics, and I am the one who can bring you down and reflect. And hey, okay, it's okay that we now think about 1 second before we do the next step. So and sometimes I get motivated through your superpower pacemaking strength, and on the other side, I can relax you a bit and saying, okay, we don't have to decide now. We can do tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And I think that's really a benefit, a personal coach on your side.
So now, we've talked about so many aspects of job sharing. I just wanted to make sure, is there anything that we haven't talked about today that you would like to share with our listeners?
I think we touched really a lot of topics, but still there are a lot of topics that we didn't touch in our conversation, but this will probably be just, too much for now. So for example, we didn't talk about job sharing and leadership, which is like a very important topic, and where we also get a lot of questions by other job sharing couples. How do we do this? And we could probably fill another episode. But this is really one trend topic also, because in Germany, job sharing is really perceived as one option, as a leadership option actually. So and there we could talk about leading yourself, leading others. How do you lead the business as a job sharing couple? So this would be one aspect, but it's really too much to talk about now, I guess. And then, I mean, for us, this job sharing is really one topic that we really see as the as a new working topic, which really enriches the company, but also your personal life. And really, with this job sharing, you live co-creation, you live empathy, you live acceptance just by the model and just by being two persons. So we could also talk about this a lot, but there's many things we could talk now.
It's a good training for all the values that seem to be necessary in the context of transformation.
Yeah, because so
co-creation and empathy, acceptance. Yes.
Now, how can people reach you on social media?
So I think the most easiest way to find us is on LinkedIn, definitely. And I am also on Instagram. But I think the best way for both of us is LinkedIn. And we love to be approached by international colleagues and people who are interested. So just go for it and contact us. So we would also be happy if this model spreads around the world, and in all industries we are really behind that and share our experience.
That sounds wonderful. And I will be sure to put your information in the show notes so people can contact you. And yes, I'm all for, spreading all around the world, because I only see benefits truly for everybody, for the people as well as the organizations offering job sharing. Yeah.
Thank you.
So thank you for talking, for your nice questions, and just for giving us the opportunity to reach out to also the international colleagues and for spreading the word on job sharing.
Well, thank you so much for being my guests today. It was really wonderful hearing, the, life way you are dealing with job sharing in action, and, all the benefits, and just, having somebody who listens to you today to reflect on could that be a model in our organization as well? So thank you very much.
Thank you, Karin.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to the show. We hope you gained valuable insights and new ideas. To keep listening to future episodes, please head over to iTunes or your favorite player and subscribe and give it a rating. We would very much appreciate a review and for you to share it on social media, so more people can start innovating in how they offer employment. Until the next time, goodbye!